Jungkook's recent return to Korea has generated multiple reactions, not only for his return, but for the way it happened and the details surrounding the event. It has also generated much speculation, especially among Jungkook. According to a person who works at the airport, Jungkook's arrival was completely unexpected. There was no press, no cameras recording. Everything happened silently, almost as if he were just another passenger. In fact, it is mentioned that most of the people there didn't recognize him. Only one girl noticed his presence and tried to approach, but she was discreetly stopped by her manager. This has led some to wonder if it was really Jungkook who arrived or if it was a coincidence. Despite the lack of official confirmation from the company or Jungkook himself, comments on social media have been plentiful. Especially from Jungkookers, they were quick to link this appearance to their favorite theory, that Jimin and Jungkook are secretly together. According to some publications, Jungkook had arrived without a suitcase, leading to speculation that his luggage was with Jimin. But we have to keep in mind that we haven't seen a full video of his arrival. In other words, we only saw a short video that showed only a glimpse of Jungkook, and the video cuts out. Maybe the luggage was further back or further ahead, who knows? What we do know is that these Jungkookers are crazy, relating anything to Jungkook. And if there isn't, they just keep making up absurd things. These kinds of theories aren't new. In recent years, the Jungkook fandom has spent time inventing anything and everything about Jungkook, and whatever happens between Jungkook, they look for the slightest way to connect it with Jimin. There are publications that claim the two were seen eating sushi abroad, based on third-party comments on social media that have not been verified. So far, there is no solid evidence or official statements indicating that Jungkook has returned to Korea or that he was accompanied by Jimin. It hasn't been publicly revealed whether they traveled together or if they're in the same country. The only certain thing is that there are video clips showing the two of them at different airports, and everything else is just deductions from fans who often project their own ideas and desires onto the band members. We'll share more details soon if new official information emerges. When it comes to their free time, many fans wonder how Taehyung and Jungkook spend their free time, especially when they're together. Although they don't share all the details of their private lives, there are clues that give insight into some of their favorite activities. Among them, it's known that they both enjoy training together. This type of shared routine not only allows them to stay in shape, but also strengthens their relationship, something they've demonstrated over the years, both on and off stage. Another thing they've done together is visit J-Hope. He's also been an important figure for both of them, and it wouldn't be surprising if they seek him out for quiet time. But one of the aspects that has drawn the most attention in recent months is their apparent closeness with Bam, Jungkook's dog. Bam is at a training center, and fans have begun to notice certain similarities in social media posts that could suggest joint visits to the facility. For example, on April 30th, Taehyung posted a photo on his social media. In it, a landscape filled with cherry blossoms was seen, a detail that caught the attention of many. Although the location wasn't specified, some fans noticed that the background matched a video posted on April 11th by Bam's training center. The location was visually very similar, and even appeared to be captured from a similar angle to Taehyung's photo. This type of coincidence has occurred before. In November of last year, both Taehyung and the training center's official account shared images of the same location. And now in April, they again showed the same view. This has led to questions about whether these coincidences are simply that, or if they are actual visits Taehyung and Jungkook make together to Bam. The possibility that they both dedicate part of their free time to visiting the dog doesn't sound far-fetched. In fact, Taehyung is known to have a special affection for Bam. Furthermore, since his own dog, Yeontan, is no longer with him, it's understandable that he's looking for other spaces where he can interact with animals he feels strongly about. The connection between Taehyung and Bam has been evident on several occasions. Even without explicit confirmation, Taehyung's body language and expressions while with Bam have shown genuine affection. This bond may also be a way for him to maintain constant contact with Jungkook, considering the two have shared many experiences related to their pets and that animals have always been an important part of their personal lives. Although Taehyung and Jungkook are currently fulfilling their military duties, that hasn't stopped them from finding time together. It's important to remember that at one point, they were stationed at different bases, 212 kilometers apart. Despite this, they managed to meet up on occasion, demonstrating the level of commitment they both have to maintaining their close friendship, even in circumstances that could have made it difficult. Visits to Bam, whether together or separately, could be part of these shared moments. There are no official statements confirming these types of activities, but the posts, dates, and locations suggest there is at least some coordination between them. On social media, fans tend to analyze these details closely, and often find patterns that indicate the two BTS members continue to spend their free time together, albeit discreetly. For a long time, the relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook has drawn attention for something that doesn't depend on words. What happens between them isn't explained with speeches or prepared phrases. The connection appears when no one expects it, in simple moments, in gentle gestures, in a look that lasts longer than usual. This doesn't happen just once, nor is it something that happens by accident. It's a constant. Every time they get close, their bodies lean toward each other with ease, as if being together were the most comfortable and natural thing in the world. What they do isn't an act. It's an unplanned routine that repeats itself. They don't expect others to notice them. They don't seek reactions. On the contrary, they seem to forget that there are cameras or people watching. They don't stop to think if anyone is watching them. They just act as they always do, letting the connection express itself without words. Some say theirs is part of the show. But if you analyze it calmly, it's easy to see that there's a big difference between what is acted out for an audience and what is born authentically. In Taehyung and Jungkook's case, what's noticeable isn't a script, it's something that emerges on its own. They don't need to practice or repeat it for it to work. You can tell what they share is real because it's uninterrupted and unbroken. Their glances aren't part of a plan, their touches don't follow a scripted scenario. When they're close, they speak in another language. Not with words, but with movements that express so much more. Their hands search for each other, their eyes meet without any need for explanation. In those moments, you can see something deeper, a form of closeness that isn't constructed for others. It's made just for them. Taehyung and Jungkook notice these things because they aren't small details. They're clear signs that what they share is real. You can't fake the way they look at each other or the way they seek each other out in a group of people. When something sincere is touched, there's no need to exaggerate. And Taehyung and Jungkook don't exaggerate anything. They just experience their connection, and that's what makes it so strong. In many situations where there's an audience or cameras, it's common to see behaviors designed to attract attention. But with Taehyung and Jungkook, what you see is different. They don't adapt to the moment or act according to what's expected of them. On the contrary, they behave as if they only exist for each other. The way they approach each other, even when there are many people around, clearly shows that they don't seek approval. Their relationship isn't meant to be applauded. It's something that sustains itself, even in silence. This isn't a simple game, because if it were, it wouldn't be so constant. What exists between them doesn't appear only occasionally. It's something that is maintained. The way they touch each other isn't quick or forced. It's slow, gentle, full of confidence. You can tell they don't think twice. There's no hesitation in their movements. Nor is there tension or fear. There's security. A security that can only be achieved when what unites two people doesn't depend on the external, but on the internal. The physical contact between them is different from that seen in other relationships. Their gestures don't have the energy of the theatrical, but rather the calm of the genuine. They don't do anything to prove it. They do it because it comes naturally. And that's what makes it so easy to notice that what exists between Taehyung and Jungkook goes beyond what can be explained with excuses like fan service. What they show can't be faked in such detail. The expressions on their faces, the way they react to each other, are signs that only appear when there's a deep connection. Taehyung fans understand this difference. They know there's a special language that not everyone can read, but it exists. It's the language of naturalness, of what isn't rehearsed. The caresses they give each other, the hugs that linger for no apparent reason, and the moments when their eyes meet as if it were the most ordinary thing in the world, are clear signs of a relationship that doesn't need to be explained. Because things that are real aren't justified, they are felt and lived freely. Taehyung and Jungkook don't need to confirm anything with words. Their way of communicating is full of details that, when repeated so many times, become evidence. And that evidence can't be erased or ignored. People can say many things, but they can't change what you see every time they're around. That's why, when you observe what happens between them, you don't see a montage. You see a truth that stands on its own, without a script, without false promises. Taehyung and Jungkookers have learned to read between the lines, to see what isn't always said, but is present. And when you see Taehyung and Jungkook together, you discover a story that can't be told with simple words. Because there are realities that can only be experienced in gestures, glances, and shared silences.